Is it live or is it Memorex? Who knows? Who knows? Does anybody hell? I don't even know if anybody even understands that line. Who here is over 40? I'm Jim. This is Jim on Sports. I'm drinking on the air. Tuesday. Welcome to it. Sorry about yesterday. If you were waiting with bated breath on what I had to say about LeBron going to the Sixers, or also on Friday, I guess too. Friday just became a demon hell right at work, and doing this just wasn't going to be possible. So Friday's probably out, but Monday through Thursday, let's do it. Maybe even some Sundays thrown in there too. Who knows? As far as yesterday went, we had some hellacious storms going on up here. In fact, there's still some people who don't have power because of the storms that rolled through here. No tornadoes or anything, but just some heavy storms. Knocked some tree branches, off the bases of some trees. Took down some power lines, things like that. So it was kind of hit or miss yesterday, as far as that goes. And also, because of that, I had to become both of my dogs' security blanket. I mean, they're adorable. Don't get me wrong, they're adorable, but kind of hard to do that when you got when you're trying to carry two dogs like this who don't want to be carried in the first place. Could you imagine me just sitting here and they're just both sniffing at the microphone and biting it and taking just ripping the filter off? Joy of joys. So that's what happened yesterday. Today, much better outside, much better. Actually, like not swimming in ball soup either. So that's a positive. So I will take that any time of the summer where I am not swimming in ball soup. Speaking of LeBron going to Philadelphia, we get into the quick hits, and yes, LeBron, Joel Embiid, Jaylen Brown, certainly more of a challenge to the Knicks. I'm not gonna lie. Certainly more of a challenge in the way that Philly won't get swept in 4 games in the playoffs. And yes, I'm saying this as a Knicks fan. I'm pumping the brakes a little bit on just crowning their asses, all right? First of all, can Embiid make it through an entire season without missing huge chunks of time? Can he do it? The last time he did it, the last time he played a majority of the season, which for him, about 66, 68 games, that was 2022 and 23, his MVP season. So if he plays that many games, he's a force. He is an absolute force. He's one of the best, if not the best center in the game. Since that season, he has played 97 games total in 3 seasons. That's not counting playoffs. That's just regular season. But 97. Because he's been hurt. Let's not forget that LeBron at age 41 last season, he didn't play enough even to qualify for postseason awards. He only played 60 last year. He's got a lot of mileage, too. That's something I don't think neither Cleveland, Miami, Philadelphia, whoever else was in on him, I don't think they understand that. All right? Like Cleveland, I get them making a play, because, hey, hometown, all that. That dude has a lot of mileage, though, on him from earlier in his season. It's kind of been hit or miss with the Lakers making the playoffs and whatnot, but since, before that dude was easily playing like 100 games a year. Easily. And then you throw in some Olympics in there, too. FIBA World Championships thrown in there too. Yeah, that's a lot of basketball on those wheels. So he's going to want to play as much as he can. Like that much I'm sure of. That much I'm sure of. But he can see the light at the end of the tunnel. All right? He can see the end coming. And then another reason, I guess really the other factor that will keep the Sixers from winning it all. And go ahead, put me up on freezing cold takes, put me up on it. Go ahead. Is Jaylen Brown going to be able to get a hairline that won't smudge up another player's jersey? We shall see. We shall see. FIFA's Gianni Infantino lashed out against scrutiny and criticism of his leadership and his organization, accusing critics of spreading hate and telling them to meditate, pray, or watch a football match instead of spending their energy hating FIFA. Not gonna lie, that's pretty damn easy to do. His message, posted not unlike the ramblings of a teenage girl who was dumped at the homecoming dance or something like that, or, any of Kanye West's ramblings. He did it across 15 slides on his personal Instagram account. Awesome. It was cross-posted to the FIFA Instagram account to more than 8 million people. Gianni Infantino has his own 5.7 million followers, too. What the hell are we doing? The slides cited his belief that the World Cup celebrated humanity at its best. Humanity at its best. Yeah, Italian, all that. Saying billions of people worldwide watched the World Cup, and virtually all global celebrities from music, movies, entertainment, and sport attended. Porn stars attended, I know that much. Infantino, he didn't talk. He didn't hold a news conference or anything after the World Cup began. All right, so there was one beforehand, maybe a week before, and then you had the tournament begin. You didn't talk to anybody then, and then you didn't talk at the end of the tournament either. And for the most part, that dude has just brushed off a lot of controversy, both in the lead up and during the competition itself. Moments such as fans from Iran, Haiti, and Senegal, and the Ivory Coast being hampered by U.S. travel bans imposed by President Trump. How about a Somali FIFA referee being denied entry into the country, with the White House alleging an association with suspected members of terrorist organizations like FIFA? Ongoing investigations by the Attorneys General of New York, New Jersey, Texas, and California over World Cup prices. Iran's national team having difficulty moving itself and its members of its federation from site to site. It wasn't easy getting into the country. Didn't they play didn't they play one of their matches in Mexico too? So there was crossing the border that way too, and all the fun that can be. That wasn't awkward at all, was it? And then, of course, you got the whole Balogun thing, which, yeah. Meantime, the U.S. House Judiciary Committee wants Infantino to appear before them so that they can get more of a look into FIFA's relationship with the Trump administration. Which, why would they think that? Oh, right. That last one especially. In the years leading up to this past summer's Men's World Cup in the United States, Mexico, and Canada, Infantino appeared to court U.S. President Donald Trump, gifting him a newly created FIFA Peace Prize, which Jiggly, jiggly. Just keychains. Just a big old keychain. Also taking office space in Trump Tower in New York City. Changing FIFA's plans to host the World Cup draw last December in Las Vegas, and instead doing it at the John F. Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C., which by that point had been taken over by Trump and his political allies. Representative Jamie Raskin, the ranking member on the House Judiciary Committee, is pushing FIFA to provide all of its records on its contacts with Trump, his administration, and the Trump Organization, the president's family business. And they have to do that by August 9th of this year. Good luck, Representative Raskin. Like, seriously. Like if he's going to be the guy, cool. If he's going to be the guy who cracks that foundation finally, cool. And over something like the World Cup, over FIFA, for God's sakes. You're going to be taken down because of FIFA, as opposed to, the Epstein files and all the other, drug smuggling and money embezzling and all that stuff. ICE deported a former Colts linebacker, Daniel Ogama Adango, allegedly overstayed his visa. He's Adango, a former pro rugby player from Kenya. He made the Colts with no prior football experience. So he was also the league's first Kenyan-born player. He was an outside linebacker. He appeared in 100 special team snaps, one defensive snap in the 2013 and 2015 seasons. Started experiencing some legal issues starting in February of 2015. Mostly civil disputes, vehicle violations, expired plates, things like that. But he faced 2 felony charges in 2020 for intimidation, where he drew or used a deadly weapon. Also criminal mischief resulting in damage between $750 and $50,000. That's a wide gap, by the way. That is a big range. The first of those, one of the felony charges, dismissed as part of a plea deal. He was sentenced to 6 months in county jail. ICE cited that case as grounds for his deportation, likely pointing to the Laken-Riley Act. That is a new act that requires the agency to detain undocumented immigrants who have been arrested in connection with burglary, theft, larceny, shoplifting, assault, things like that. The agency did not explain which category his case falls under because, it's still ICE. Vague counts. But ICE can detain someone who was arrested or charged with a qualifying offense, even if they were never convicted. So, there's that. I mean, it's not like he doesn't sound like a real winner. But, just to point this out, because I think it needs pointing out, full NFL training camp practices start tomorrow, if they haven't already, in a few locations. But by tomorrow, every team in the NFL will be practicing in training camp. Do with that information what you will. North Carolina's Michael Lombardi, their football general manager, longtime confidant of Bill Belichick, he's on paid administrative leave because somebody's got to tell these guys that it's not the NFL, all right? School provided no details about the decision, said it would have no further public comment about the personnel matter. It's connected to a human resources complaint, according to 3 people briefed on the matter, but not authorized to speak publicly. Now, what kind of human resources complaint? The mind reels. So, I'm going to go with him cutting donuts in half. That should be a PR or a human relations violation. That should be. That's garbage. All right. If you work with somebody like that, by the way, get them fired. UNC football, by the way, also being approached by the College Sports Commission about a potential investigation, because why not? Lombardi's actions believed to be of interest to them. The CSC, if you haven't heard of them, that's the new enforcement body of college sports that looks into potential violations of name, image, and likeness and revenue sharing rules, and approves third-party deals with athletes. So, Lombardi declined to comment. Former NFL executive. Also started, I believe, the National Football Post online. 3 decades of league experience. He arrived at North Carolina with Belichick before the 2025 season, charged with assembling a roster. Immediately became the highest paid general manager in college football as well, with $1.5 million. That's it. Which is fine, by the way, especially with a public school. That's fine. Of course, you know, we see how well that worked last year. Yeah. Where's North Carolina in, like, the conference's preseason poll? Like, Purdue was 18th in the Big Ten, which is funny to say. 18th out of 18 teams in the Big Ten. Where's North Carolina in that? Because they can't. If they're in the top half, like, what are we doing? Due to on-field struggles with a roster ill-equipped for ACC play, because, you know, that sort of thing matters. Plus, you know, the off-field headlines that he's generated, such as declaring UNC the 33rd NFL team. If, you know, if the bar is the Cleveland Browns, UNC is still getting their ass waxed by the Cleveland Browns. There's been an appetite by some in the athletic department at UNC to move on from him and to protect itself, basically. Because I got a feeling we're not done hearing about some stuff yet, as far as UNC goes. We're not done. We're not done yet. And then finally, not there, that. How did we not hear about Kyle Shanahan's accident for almost 2 weeks? For real, like, how did that not... It happened on July 14th. We only heard about it this past weekend. All right? I was in the car driving when the news came out on Saturday, the 25th. How did we not hear about this? That said, I'm glad he's alive. I'm glad he's going to be okay. It sounds like he got royally effed up in that accident. Drugs, alcohol, not a factor, according to medical personnel who have treated Shanahan. The other person involved, by the way, they're fine. But, like, according to Chris Sims, who's a friend of Kyle Shanahan's, Chris Sims was talking about it on Pro Football Talk because, you know, with the news out, you know, he felt more comfortable talking about it. But apparently, Shanny almost lost an eye in this accident. His face is all cut up. He's still got concussion symptoms. Apparently, he was at practice yesterday, watching from afar. They've got Shanahan's longtime assistant, Chris Forster, basically running things, along with Raheem Morris, the new defensive coordinator. New? Yeah, new. New defensive coordinator in San Francisco, running things right now until Kyle Shanahan can get back. How long that's going to take, though, with post-concussion symptoms, still lingering like that, is anybody's guess. And then there's also the emotional toll that all of that takes too, that you got to deal with. But still, glad that he's okay, happy that he's okay. But like, what a weird thing to just fall through the cracks, Yeah, like like nobody in the Bay Area talked about this. Nobody in the Bay Area even talked about like an accident or anything, anything having to do with that accident. Like nobody knew about it. How does that happen with the coach of the NFL team? That just amazes me. It just like simply amazing to me that Kyle Shanahan, made it 11 days before we found out that he was in a major auto accident. Like that's wild in today's age. Wild. Like seriously, like the question, where were you on that one, TMZ? Where were you on that one? That's things for today. The Mets continue to piss me off. I'm not even watching them. Not even watching them anymore. I'm just so over that team right now. Like it just, I didn't sign up for MLB.TV this year. Part of that is because the half off membership that I had for being a supporter of the Players Alumni Association, that went away when ESPN took over the MLB.TV package, which is bullshit, I think. So yeah, like and looking at how that roster was constructed in the offseason, I was just kind of like, no Alonso. Like that's the biggie for me. No Alonso, no Brandon Nimmo, no Edwin Diaz, although he's been hurt. McNeil's gone. It's not the team that I've watched, like of all those guys too. How do you let Alonso go without even sending an offer his way? I know that he opted out like immediately after the season ended. I get that. But what is it that compels a guy to want to do that? That soon before the deadline, that soon after the season ends. Like what is David Stern's wrought here? And everybody thought, hey, Freddie Peralta's coming to town via trade. That worked out well. He's probably pitched for the last time in New York. Cool. Let me look up Alonso's stats real quick. How is the polar bear? Baseball reference. All right, 2026. 22 homers, 251 batting average, 815 OPS, 127 OPS plus. Yeah. Not exactly what I would call a drop-off in his age 31 season. That's the guy that still pisses me off that they let him go to Baltimore. That they let him out of the organization. All right? Here's your homegrown talent that people love on a level of David Wright. All right? People love David Wright with the Mets. People love that dude, and for good reason. All right? Sure, he was injured a lot, but when he played, he was great. And that World Series home run that he hit, too. Like, that is still one of the best home runs I have ever seen. They didn't win that game. Another thing altogether. But that almost blew away like every Cespedes home run that season. But yeah, 107 games so far for Pete. 22 homers. 21 doubles. Last year with the Mets, 272 batting average, 347, 524, 871 for an OPS. Not that far off. Slugging a little bit down, and that's changing leagues essentially. Like I still contend that there is different pitching going on in the National League and between the two leagues. I think there's different pitching going on. I think the strategy has gotten the same with pitchers not batting in the National League anymore. But there's still a different approach to pitching between both leagues. So we got that at least, as Major League Baseball works to just completely eradicate those lines altogether. But yeah, so annoying. Seriously, still pissed. Still pissed about that. Silver Slugger last year, All-Star, 4-time All-Star. It's the Rookie of the Year in 2019. Almost a unanimous Rookie of the Year, too. Michael Soroka getting 1 vote. Michael Soroka. But Tatis was part of that class too. Brian Reynolds part of that class too. So there were a couple other guys who were there, and Polar Bear. All right. I'm looking at him now. I'm looking at his picture on Baseball Reference right now, and him with that Oriole cap. Don't get me wrong, the Oriole cap is great. It doesn't belong on Pete Alonso. He was your guy. He was your glue guy. And now you see what's happening. I'm done mourning now. Back again tomorrow with more Jim on Sports. Live, taped, whatever. Look for the podcast sometime around 2. Watch it on YouTube. all that. JimOnSports.com for all of your Jim on Sports needs as well. Until then, and I'm not done crying about Pete Alonso yet, but it's going to be ugly crying, so I'm just going to leave it at that. I'll see you tomorrow.